Hello! You've joined the newest episode of Depuy Pinnacle Hip Litigation podcast. I'm your ever-present host, GF, and I will be hoping thank you, that's not really necessary, but thank you. Today's show, we're going to go on with, if you're just interested in the medical aspects of the Depuy Pinnacle or the legal aspects of the Depuy Pinnacle hip replacement, this show might be considered an extra. It might be one that you could skip because I'm going to go into the nursing home hell, what I went through in the torture chamber where I went. And I, of course, will, from each torture that I suffered, I will explain to you how you can make sure that you would not have to go that. Now, if you are a person who is not facing revision surgery, you might want to just consider this show extra and go for a walk. But, or if you don't plan on going to a nursing home when you get out, if you've got a nice family that instead are going to take you straight home from the hospital, you don't really need this show. It's just I was horrified at what went on, and I just want people to know in case you are facing, especially if you're imminently facing, the possibility of going to a nursing home. Certainly not all nursing homes are bad, and certainly they are a necessary for people like me that don't have a big support staff for their medical problems. So let's get into it. Starting at the hospital, which would be on the Friday following the surgery. The surgery was October 16th. So far, at the hospital on what would be the 18th, would be the Friday, they started calling saying, we've been approved or something like that by your insurer, and we're going to come pick you up and take you to our rehab center because you're much more appropriate for rehab than you are for a nursing home. Well, I thought that was just dandy. Sure, let's do that. Sounds great. Okay. Well, the hours started ticking by. That was about 9 in the morning. No one showed up. Nobody did anything. Nobody came by. And so finally at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 young women come up who are ambulance drivers. They're having a good old time. They've obviously just met each other, and love was in the air, and they're laughing and showing their tattoos to each other and basically ignoring the patient. But they started saying, okay, we have to go. And the first thing that I noticed was that my left leg, which was the one that had been operated on, was hanging off the gurney. And I pointed that out to them, and they at first didn't acknowledge me, like maybe what I said had been inaudible. But then finally one of them said, well, you're too big. How tall are you? And I said, I'm 6 feet. And they said, well, you're too big. And at that point, just grammatically, not to be a prick, I said, ma'am, no, I'm what I've always been. Your gurney is too small. And I just wanted to change the attitude that they have of, well, we're going to blame you for everything that we do wrong. Everything we do wrong, we're going to see if we can get away with making you accept that it's your fault. No, I don't do that. No, I'm not saying things aren't my fault, but they knew what I was saying in both as to the bed and as to the don't try that shit here. Okay, so then I said, no, I'm not going. I'm not going to go in a gurney that's too small. Get out. And my voice didn't raise till about 6, that's 2 hours later, when they were still trying to say, look, well, here, roll over onto this. Here, we're going to try and roll you onto this, and then we're going to see if maybe we could tie your leg to I said, you can't tie my leg to anything. You cannot tie my leg. I have an order from the doctor that nobody is to touch the leg except me, and it's to stay here. And I said, you are not tying my leg because it would stop me from moving it if I had to. And they knew that was right. They knew they weren't supposed to tie it. But here's where it gets interesting to me. Now, this was in the city of Los Angeles. This might not affect you, but about this time, now they've been 3 hours. Now it's 7 o'clock, nearing 7 o'clock. And Tarzana's representatives or nursing staff come in. Are you staying or are you leaving, GF? I said, I don't know. But I said, I don't really want to, I'm not going on that bed there. It's too small. It's the wrong bed. And they looked at the ambulance drivers and they said, why didn't you bring the right-sized bed? And one of them looks at them and gives them the impossible explanation. She said, well, he requires a Bailey bed, and we're not allowed to have Bailey beds inside the city. No, I don't know what that means, but that's the craziest shit I ever heard. What that means is that they did know from the get-go that I was too big, that they could not safely carry me, and that they were going to do it anyway, and that they were going to hide it, and that it was a matter of money and contracts, and that they didn't care as long as they got me in there. And you will notice as I go on that as the time goes by, there's a undercurrent that there is a financial incentive to the drivers. And I cannot prove that, but I saw a lot of evidence of that. And since I've left the nursing home and had a chance to access the interwebs, I find out that is called ambulance abuse and is a rising area of lawsuits, litigation, etc. So let's get back to beautiful Tarzana Hospital, where they're trying to say, you have to go. And then I said, I really want to go. I'd love to go. And they held out the little carrot that got me going. And then what was that? They said, well, they've authorized a new CPAP machine for you. And mine's horribly out of date. And I said, really? He said, oh, yeah. And it's waiting for you there. And there's a guy there, a physical therapist, who's going to set it to your settings. And I said, I don't think so. I've been fighting with these people here for 3 days. Nobody has my settings, even though I told them in advance that they would need to get them over the phone or whatever from Kaiser, who did the original survey. Still didn't have them. Just, what should we set it to? What numbers do you breathe? How do we set them? I don't know. So that's the conversation I had with Tarzana. So back to the ambulance drivers, they go, yeah, you should see it. They've got a whole brand new in the box CPAP machine for you to take home from your insurer. I said, wow, I would love that. And they start explaining, remember, we're going to teach you how to bathe yourself. We're going to teach you how to walk. We're going to have you walking up and down the hallways. They said, we're going to feed you. I said, you know what? Okay, let's go. And they said, it's no problem. All we're going to do is we're going to fasten the bed, the gurney bed, whatever, to the side of the ambulance, and that way you'll just be locked against it. And I said, that makes no sense. You don't have more room. If I don't fit on the bed now, the fact that you lock it against a wall doesn't give me more room. It just means that maybe if what you're saying is you're going to lock it to the left, so you're saying my right leg will fall off the bed. And they said, well, yeah, but that's not the one that's worked, that's operated on. I said, that sounds crazy. And they said, no, don't worry, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And then as they loaded me on to the gurney again, because I'd gotten off telling them no, one said, now be careful, because one time I did this and I forgot to lock the wheels on the gurney, and the people went, and they said people, not person. She said, and the people went falling everywhere, and oh boy, it was a mess. And I should have right then and there said, get the fuck out of here now. I'm not going with you. That's, first of all, you're incompetent. Second, you're negligent. And third, you laugh at the fact that you hurt your patient. You think that's funny? I would be ashamed of that forever. I didn't say any of those things. I still had my mind focused on, a beautiful new CPAP machine. Wow, I would love that. And to be truthful, My doctor had said she was going to arrange for me to get one, but that it would require me go through a sleep study. A sleep study is a pain in the kishkas. You have to go to an office downtown, or there's one in the valley, and you sleep there overnight with electrodes attached to your head by yourself, so your normal sleeping partner isn't there with you. You have to sleep by yourself in a little laboratory room like a rat. And then they let you out if you want in the morning at like 6 o'clock where it's still pitch black, and you walk out to your car in the parking lot, and it's, oh boy, and you drive home. And then they send the numbers to your doctor, and your doctor gets you a new CPAP machine. Wow. So these people are telling me, oh yeah, there's a CPAP machine waiting for you at the Hall of Terrors nursing home. So I got up and I went to the nursing home. During the drive, their jerry-rigged bed came apart from the ambulance, and so it started sliding around with me on it. They had to pull over. At first, they pulled over on the street because I could hear cars honking at them. I had my eyes closed. But so I'm in the back of the ambulance, and the smaller, younger woman, not driver, is moving me around, trying to lock what I had into the walls or whatever. Cars honking at them, and I said, move into a protected area to do this. Well, I've got the lights on. I said, I don't give a fuck. The lights don't stop a car from hitting you. So they did. They pulled into a parking lot. She said it was McDonald's. I didn't look. And they did something, and it got better. And remember, I'm there because they showed me on the map where this place was located. I said, I ain't going there. That's the worst section of town. That's the corner of Sherman Way and Sepulveda. Who in the world would have a medical facility located there? Well, there is one about a mile away that's actually really good. So, okay. So I thought, oh, forget it. I'll just go. But no, it was true. So that meant when they had to pull over to work on me in the back of the ambulance, there I was in the lousiest section of town with cars honking, and who knows if we're going to be robbed. Anyway, we got to the place safely. Now, I knew something was very wrong. When we arrived at the Hall of Terrors nursing home, they started wheeling me down the aisle. Wheeling down the corridor. Go down the corridor. And I'm looking in each room to see how happy the patients are, and I'm really concerned about, am I going to have a single room or a double room? All the rooms were double rooms, so you got to enjoy all the bodily gases, noises, and excrements of your fellow roommate. But as I looked in each room, and by now, because of various problems, it was 11:30 at night, the people in the rooms all had their dressing gowns off. Every person. And although the lights were dim because they were sleeping, and so I could not see if that was a male person or a female person, it just looked to me like each room had a dead person with no gown. Why? I didn't know, but I did know one thing. That was not a good sign. And so they put me into this room, and immediately I realized what the horrible outcome was. What had happened was, or what the problem was, is that there was no air conditioning on. It was broken. It's funny, I say that, and at that moment my house's air conditioning came on. You don't have to prove yourself. We know you're there. All right. So, and it was so hot that every patient in every room had taken their gown and off in order to try and survive in the heat. Now, this was during a heat wave in California, which we're also having today, thank you. But this was during the heat wave, and it was about 95 outside during the day. I'd say it was probably 78, 79 during the night. That's strictly a guess. But it was so hot that there was no way to sleep, eat, or do anything. So I'll keep that part. It's not very interesting, I don't think. But what I did and what